Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Venom vlog. This is going to be another live episode, so hopefully people come in. This is Thursday, December 3rd, my mom's birthday. So happy birthday, Mom. I hope you're well, and I know you're working really late. I think you're working the third shift, so hopefully you're doing all right. So you're probably sleeping by now. And everyone else that's out there who was working really hard and going through a lot of tough times, I know the world is sucks right now, so I hope everything turns around for the better very soon for you, or at least you have enough at your disposal to get through these hard times for sure. So, hey, what's up, Brendan Miller? How's it going? Hey, thanks for the 2 thumbs up. Hey, what's up, Twisty? How's it going? So in this episode, what we're going to talk about is my day is okay. It just started. I just got up like an hour ago. I filmed probably like 6 YouTube videos. 5 of them, though, are for my gaming channel. They're Resident Evil related. So you won't see those on this channel, but they're on my gaming. They'll be on my gaming channel next week. I'm going to do 1 video a day at next week, Monday through Friday. Then I just finished recording a Venom vlog, episode 591, which will be after this. So it'll probably go up tomorrow night, where I talk about kindred spirits from the Cullen Bunn book. So we're almost at the end of this book. It's crazy. So that's going to be an episode tomorrow. Probably tomorrow night. So this episode I want to talk about King in Black, but I didn't want to do it in a pre-recorded episode. I wanted to get an episode up today, and I just don't have the time to edit. But also because it's a new book, I don't want to show off all the artwork and spoil everything. But I will say, if you have not read King in Black #1, we are going to talk about spoilers big time in this episode. But I just won't have any visual aids that go up with it. It'll just be us talking. I'll get your opinions on it in the comments, and then you'll hear my opinions. And we're going to talk about... in the back of the book, they put this little timeline thing. That's what we're going to talk about first, about pre-creation and Null and his history. You just got all your figures to make Venom pool? Awesome. Congrats. Swordsman. Yeah, I finally was able to get one of these again. Hey, what's up, Swordsman? Awesome. I just mentioned you in my other video where I recorded my review of Kindred Spirits. So welcome. Everyone who's here, welcome. Today we're going to go over 3 things. The timeline thing at the back of the book that Donnie Cates put in here about Null and his history. We're going to go over that first. Then we're going to talk about Empire's End, #1, Web of Venom, Empire's End, #1. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to talk about King in Black, #1. So we're going to try to do all this in the next 30, 40 minutes because I wanted to get an episode up today. But like I said, I just don't have a lot of time to edit and everything before I go to work. I want to rest before I go to work. So if I can get this episode done before noon, I can get a good 2-hour nap in before I go to work, which will be very much needed for me. For those who don't know, I'm just getting over hypothermia. I don't know how I was able to get that while living in Florida, but I did. Of course, I managed to do the impossible again, and it sucks. But I do have hypothermia, and it could be anemic related. I could be anemic, so I'm on medicine now. I'm also on medicine for my blood pressure. I have high blood pressure. I always do because my headache. I've had a headache for 10 years straight, and so because of that, it caused me pain, obviously every day. So my blood pressure has always been a little higher than normal, but it's a little spiked right now, higher than it usually is. So it's a cause for concern. So yes. So I'm trying to get there. So my voice is a little raspy, so I apologize for that. But thank you for everyone being here. Take all the rest you need. I'll be praying for. Hey, thanks. That's very nice of you, man. I appreciate that. I'm not a very religious person, but when people say that to me, it's always very nice for them to say. It's a very nice thing to hear. So thank you for that. So what we're going to talk about first, I almost went on a religion rant there, but I would never do that. Or not here. We do it when we talk about Venom, which we are talking about today, but we'll get into that. We're going to talk about gods. We're going to talk about monsters, all these things, starting off with this timeline. So again, if you haven't read King in Black #1 or Empire's End, spoilers ahead, but you won't get any images. So still go check out the book if you can. So at the back of the book, there's this thing called the Null Timeline, I guess it is. It starts off with pre-creation, talks about how Null forged the Necrosword and begins experiments that would eventually become the symbiote species and its offshoots. And the reason they mention offshoots is because we learn in King in Black that Null is responsible for a lot more things in the Marvel Universe than we originally thought. For example, Mr. E, I'm going to do a whole episode on that next season. The Symbiote Spider-Man miniseries. We haven't talked about Alien Reality yet, I don't think. And then so we're going to do an episode on that 5-issue series, and then we'll cover the King in Black Symbiote Spider-Man next season. But in that, they brought back an old villain from a Captain Marvel Marvel team-up book, I think it was. And it was a shadow creature named Mr. E. What's up, Christian Cottle? How's it going? And Mr. E, so he's a pre-existing character in Marvel lore, but he was just a shadow creature, and he had other shadow-type aliens. They had they looked like symbiotes, but they were shadows, and they had bug eyes. Well, it turns out Null might have created those characters. So that was something they're retconning slightly, but they're saying that they're an offshoot of the experiments that Null had done at the beginning of time. So also maybe the Void is something that's created by Null, and that is a creature that has been inhabiting the Sentry's body for many years now. So we'll get into all that here coming up soon too. You like SpongeBob? Nice. Well, you came to the wrong place because SpongeBob's a bitch, and we don't talk about bitches around here. I'm kidding. SpongeBob's cool. He's cool because, like me, he's asexual. Good on you, SpongeBob. 100,000 years ago, Null dispatched the dragon symbiotes into the universe to eradicate all life. That was mentioned in Venom #4. So this timeline's pretty neat because, like I always say, I'm like, what did Null really do or accomplish? So basically anything dark or void related is now Null's doing. Yes. So that brings me in. So that's why I love this summary in the back, because it's like, we're going to show you all the cool things Null's been doing. And I'm like, this is a page of retcons in order, which just made me laugh. I was like, so when you're reading this, I'm like, so Null still hasn't accomplished anything. We don't really know what his goals are. They're super vague. We don't really know what he wants. He's just an overpowered villain with no real depth. But for some reason, so many people love him. So many people are like, he's so cool. He's so this, he's so that. He's such a terrible villain, in my opinion. It's like you just don't know anything of value about him at all. Null, the god of retcons. That's pretty much it. So Null in the year -1000 BCE, Null encased in symbiote armor battles a mysterious golden god on the homeworld of Gore the God Butcher. So that happened in Thor, God of Thunder #6, which I have not read. I don't think. Maybe I have read. Was that the Jason Aaron stuff? Maybe I did read that a long time ago. Or is that Donnie's current run? I don't know. Hey, what's up, Angel Rose? Good to see you. Null checks the ultimate evil trope, which appeals to some people. I mean, that's pretty much it, and that's fine. I mean, I'm not dogging on people that like him. It's just, I just don't. I don't. I'm like, I need more from this character to like him. Hey, Drake, what's up, dude? How's it going? Good to see you. So 600 CE, the dragon symbiote arrives on Earth, that's the Grendel, and attacks man in Scandinavia. Mistaking the creature for an earthbound beast, humankind names it the Grendel. Thor comes and dispatches it. That was in Venom numbers 1 through 6. We heard about that. That's true. I remember that. 700 CE, encased in ice on the bottom of the ocean, the Grendel lies dormant, lost to time. So we did get that storyline, and although the Grendel did awaken maybe 2 decades ago in an issue of Captain Marvel, but apparently that's being retconned. I don't know. Led by Nick Fury, S.H.I.E.L.D. locates and excavates the Grendel in 1971 during Vietnam, sampling its genetic material and exposing United States service members to it in small doses. So those symbiotes from Vietnam, those are from the Grendel. 1 year ago, after the dissolving of S.H.I.E.L.D., the frozen Grendel symbiote breaks out of containment and unleashes its fury on an unsuspecting New York City, aided by a younger Spider-Man, Miles Morales. Why didn't they just say Miles Morales? Eddie Brock incinerates the monster, but the Maker acquires a small sample of its remains. So obviously we knew about that because we talked about that on the show. Thank you for the 3 thumbs up, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hey, thanks for saying hi to each other. Make some friends in the chat. All right. It's good to see you, Angel Rose. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing okay. I'm hanging in there. Then we have number 8. 10 months ago, the Maker's sample of Grendel is stolen from its laboratory by a cult that has worshipped Null for generations and is passed on to Cletus Cassidy to rebirth Dark Carnage. So there's that happened. So I guess that means, I guess Cletus always has Carnage in him in some way, even when he's a burnt up husk. And then the Grendel awakened that. So then that made Carnage the new Grendel. But then Eddie destroyed the Grendel by stabbing it in the spine. And so now just Carnage exists as a symbiote without Cletus. There you go. Summed it up for you. 3 months ago, Dark Carnage launches an all-out assault on the. So that only 3 months ago. That's a pretty quick turn. Okay, I was thinking Null took too long to show up, but that's because Eddie spent a year, but in a different dimension. So when he came back to our dimension, no time had passed, I guess. So that was 3 months ago. Was Absolute Carnage, and 1 month ago, the Interstellar Warriors and the Guardians of the Galaxy called Wraith. That whole Wraith issue took place 1 month ago. So we talked about that already. Where a god of light is coming, and it's gonna looking for Eddie Brock apparently. And then 2 weeks ago, Eddie Brock warns the Avengers that the Codex is complete and Null has begun a campaign across the galaxy. Before they can properly mount a counter offense and extract all possible intel from Brock, he is swept into another dimension, where he is ambushed by Matt Gargan. So yeah, all right. So that's all. That catches you up on everything that's been going on in the Venom books right now. So that was the first thing I want to talk about and get it out of the way. You're well, good. I'm glad, Angel. To me, it's funny that Venom went from fighting crooks to fighting gods. My friend Gene said that. He goes, how is Eddie ever going to go back to just fighting like Scorpion and Rhino again after this? Like, how is that ever going to be a thing? Like every story, like it's basically Donny Cates saying, screw you guys, I'm writing the biggest, greatest Venom story ever. And that anyone who follows this is going to it's going to be pathetic in comparison. And it's basically him C-blocking everybody from writing Venom stories after this. And which my answer to my friend Gene was, well, that's easy. If I was going to write Venom after this, I would just not even reference anything that Donny Cates had done. Unless Dylan's still alive. I mean, I would probably still have Dylan there if he's still alive at the end of this storyline, but who knows? But I'm like, oh, it's easy. You just forget it happened. That's how you get Donny Cates back, is you just go, oh, I didn't read your comic, which I do. I do read his comic, obviously. But yeah, anyway, so that's how you answer that. That was my answer to him. I was like, oh, you just be a bigger dick than him. But yeah, hey, Swordsman, how are you? Drake says, honestly, I prefer Carnage as Cletus. Yeah, me too. Swordsman says, absorbed, not destroyed, and then later separated from Venom, Symbiote, and Venom Island. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, but he's absorbed. Yeah, then, well, he destroyed the Dark Carnage. He destroyed the Grendel, so you're wrong. He destroyed the Dark Grendel, or the Grendel version that was bonded to Cletus. So no. I actually spoke correctly. He destroyed Dark Carnage Grendel, but Carnage was absorbed and slithered away without Cletus. So yes, I am correct. All right, I agree. The Carnage symbiote needs to be with Cletus. Yes, it does. Especially when there's a movie coming out. It's like, don't you want Cletus and Carnage to be alive in the comic books again, like for that synergy? No. What we're probably going to get is we're going to get a mini series written by a different writer. I bet you Mike Costa or Cullen Bunn. They're going to probably release a Venom mini series that will coincide with the movie coming out. That'll be out of continuity. That'll have Venom fighting Carnage. If they were smart, they would do that. If Marvel was smart, but then we also get a checklist in the back. So for King in Black collectors, King in Black #1 is out. Empire's End #1 is out. Symbiote Spider-Man #1 is out. Atlantis Attacks #5, The Union #1, Venom 31, King in Black Immortal Hulk #1, King in Black Namor #1, Black Cat #1, Symbiote Spider-Man #2, King in Black #2, Spider-Woman #7, King in Black Iron Man Doctor Doom #1, and King in Black Namor #2 all come out in December. So there's a ton of stuff. The thing is, Null is just the ultimate evil of the week. All writer has to do is bring back Carnage, and it'll be more popular. That's how I feel. I'm just like, you just go back and tell a Venom versus Carnage story. So you nailed it. I agree with you, Swordsman. So then we have heirs to the throne. Let's talk about this real quick. Am I the only one who thinks that Cletus as president would be a scary thought? Yes, you are. You're not the only one who thinks that. That would be a scary thing. But Eddie as president, which, by the way, I still got to edit that video. But I have something along those lines I'm going to make for you guys. So hopefully you guys like it. So heirs to the throne, things that spin out of Null. What has Null done? What has he created? Well, let's see. Now that he's just a Mary Sue, give him everything, every power, every ability. He's scarier than Galactus. He's scarier than everything. He makes everybody piss their pants. He hasn't earned jack shit. He's killed Celestials. He doesn't, it's like, he's created the Necro Sword. He's created the Symbiote Dragons, aka the Grendels. He's created the Void Knight. He's created the Symbiotes. He's created the Exilons, which are the living abyss race that from Wraith, from that storyline. He created the Symbiote Hive, which is all the spiral symbiote things. He created Dark Carnage. And then down here it says other experiments. Evidence suggests that there are other organisms in the universe that Null created adrift among the stars, whatever their origins. The one thing is for certain, Null has some psychic sway over them, aka Mr. E, the shadow creatures from Captain Marvel that have recently showed up in Symbiote Spider-Man #1. So there you go. That's it. That's all we're talking about. That's all the background on Null and his heirs and all that stuff. So now let's dive into Empire's End. Did anyone in the chat, have you read Empire's End at all? Do you have any thoughts on it? Cletus would be the death of us all. He would be. To me, Dylan, hopefully I spelled that right, as basically a less interesting 11 from Stranger Things. Pretty much. It's a trope called it's a writing technique called the Deus Ex Machina. Dylan exists, so anytime anyone's in a pinch in a story, Dylan is your way out. He can solve the problem with very little effort. He hasn't earned any of that ability or power or anything. He's a Deus Ex Machina. He's the way to get out of a corner. Jeff Johns and Pete Tomasi did this a few times in their Green Lantern run with Mogo. Mogo is a giant planet that is a Green Lantern, and there was a couple times where they're like, how are we going to get out of this? And Mogo showed up and solved the problem. Writers do it sometimes. It's a trope that I think some writers wish they didn't use or have to use, but it happens. So I'm not dogging on Donnie for doing it, but to me, Dylan at least feels a little bit more like a character than Null does because of his connection to Eddie. I think that's one thing Donnie does really well, is the relationship between Eddie and Dylan. I think he writes that pretty well. I haven't read it yet, waiting for some extra cash to get it since it's recommended to me, since I am a fan of Mike Costa. Well, Mike Costa did not write Empire's End, but Chapman did. Chapman was the writer of the Scream comic book. And Villanova, who does the artwork on it, this picks up. So I don't know anything about Empire. I didn't read it. I just know it's a scroll related, and it has something to do with the kids, the teenagers from Young Avengers, Hulkling. It has something to do with him being the new king of the scrolls or something. So I don't know anything about the story, but in this one shot though, it's a couple scrolls that survive the experience of fighting an Empire leaving. And so it's like, who are the team members? Let me zoom in here. We have Tarna is the oh wow, that zoom does not work too well. We have Tarna, Avram, Kia, and Milans. And then we have the main guy, who I don't know who the main guy is. There's Ethan Edwards as one of the team members here. He's a human, I think. And then there's let me go back to this guy. So the book starts off with this scroll. There's a General Calamari. That's awesome. And then this one surviving scroll. I don't see what his name is here yet. But he talks about Emperor Hulkling and all this stuff. And then they said, where's your crew? Where is your crew? You were supposed to come back after the War of the Empire with a message from the Emperor, the new Emperor Hulkling. Like, where is all this information? And he said, look, my lord, on the way back, we found a distress signal of a ship. And we went to investigate it. And we found a symbiote on that ship. And the symbiote then took over my crew and started wiping us out one by one. And then these dragons showed up. The Grendel dragons, and they started wrapping themselves around our ships and trying to, destroy us. But I got into an escape pod and got out. What I really like about this story is that it is a horror story. It is like Aliens almost. It's these scroll members on a ship being attacked by symbiotes, and they're different symbiotes. They're different than what we've seen before, because obviously Null has probably been tampering with them. And some of them are dragons, some of them are foot soldiers and things like that. And they're coming in waves through this ship, taking down this team and this crew of scrolls. So I really like this issue in that regard. But Milans, I think she dies. She gets stabbed right through the stomach by a symbiote and then taken over. And their bodies are being reanimated and stuff. And it's really creepy and gross. And then Null is there. So this reminds me of Black Lanterns, where sometimes characters will die and then they get taken over by the darkness and then they get resurrected. And now they're zombies for Necron to control, and now these are animated bodies that Null can control. So to me, when I talked about early on, I mentioned, wow, this feels like Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, like like just on the surface level stuff. It's clear that that's what they're doing. It's such a ripoff. I mean, they're adding new things to it here and there, but whatever. We'll get to that in King of Black #1 here in a second. But then obviously this one sole survivor of the Skrulls, he ejects from the ship, but you find out Null wanted him to, of course, because Null's a genius and thinks of everything. The ship blows up, but the dragons and the minions follow, and basically this escape pod goes back, gets taken by the Skrull Empire. They find the ship and they're interrogating this guy, asking him what happened to you, we know everything. He's like, well, that's just it. He's like, I realize now that I'm awake, the only reason I survived is because Null wanted me to survive. And so they look out the window of the ship and they see Null riding a dragon coming right at them to wipe them out. And they're actually located not too far from Earth, so then it means impending doom for Earth, obviously. So that's pretty much what happens in Empire #1. Nothing really major. Just more of Null is coming, but also more of Null not really earning jack crap, essentially, but just they're like, he's scary now. Like, he's the scariest thing. Everyone pisses their pants when he's around. He's killed Celestials. He's done all this stuff. And so you're just like, whatever. At this point, you just have to just be like, okay, that's how Donnie writes his villains. And there's no depth to this character at all. He has a very shallow goal and mindset. What's up, Tavia? How's it going? But we're just gonna have to deal with that, basically. So I kept saying I'm gonna keep reading till King in Black because I want to see if Donnie actually makes Null a character. As of King in Black #1, he hasn't done anything like that with the character. He's still spouting vague things and with vague goals, and just has more power than God himself. It's just ridiculous. And he's created the Void. Now Null is responsible for everything that's dark related in the Marvel Universe. It's always been Null. All the answers lead back to Null. Whatever. For a while, I imagine what Shriek would look like in Venom 2. Well, we're not talking about Venom 2 today, but keep thinking about what she might look like. But I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. What's up, Tavia? How's it going, dude? Swordsman says Dylan would be a stronger character if he was just a boy. To clarify, apparently this book touches on events from Mike's run, from what I heard. From First Host. Yes, which I did reread for that reason. So, I gotcha. So earlier, yes, First Host. So you're right. I just reread this recently because of this issue. So yes, it does touch a little bit on some of that, some of the characters like Milan's and stuff like that. So yeah, so you'll recognize some of the names I said earlier. So yes, let me catch on my comments and we'll dive into King in Black. Hello, Tavia. Yes. What's up? How's it going? Ethics Edits. What's up, man? How's it going? He technically killed Sentry. Yeah, we haven't got there yet. Tavia. You're jumping ahead, dude. We're just talking about King in Black right now. I'd love a second form for Null too. He was a bit underwhelmed, but I had fun with King in Black. Love when the Celestials come crashing down. Oh, what's up, Henry? How's it going? Well, we haven't got there yet, but we're going to talk about that here in a second. But thanks for letting me know your thoughts. Yeah, if you have thoughts about King in Black #1, go ahead and say them in the comments, and I'll read them as we go through this book. I didn't buy into the King in Black because I got burned on Absolute Carnage. I agree with you. I actually, if I didn't do a Venom show, I probably wouldn't read King in Black because I agree. Absolute Carnage was, to me, absolute garbage. The editors were not talking to each other. Writers who were writing one book weren't talking to Donnie. Donnie wasn't talking to them, it seemed. There was no, like, when you're the head of an event book, you need to be a leader. It's like being a supervisor at a job. You have to work with everybody and communicate. You have to work on your communication. And it doesn't seem like Donnie does that. He farts out a script in like 8 hours, and then he goes to Twitter and praises himself for it. He's like, dude, 8-hour script done, sent in, boom, next book, what up? And you're just like, why are you taking pride in hashing out something in 8 hours? Why not take 3 days to write it? So I don't know. So I get a little iffy with Donnie sometimes. Like, I don't have anything against him personally, but it's just like sometimes his work ethic doesn't wow me. But Absolute Carnage showed me that too. I didn't like Absolute Carnage. And so that editor who was like Devin Lewis was like, oh, I want King in Black to have more tie-ins and more this, and that's what events should be, is big, like 50 tie-ins, whatever. And I'm just like, you guys couldn't even do 25 tie-ins. Now you want to double that? It seems dumb. It seems like a bunch of people who are unaware of their flaws. And when you're unaware of your flaws, you keep repeating them, and that's not good. Why don't they just nuke Null? Well, they tried that. We're going to talk about that here in a second. They try it. That's okay. Oops, spoilers. I mean, we're talking about spoilers today anyways. That's fine. But yeah, we're just not ahead yet. The art is stellar, though. Yeah, Ryan Stegman is good, but he does draw versions of characters that shouldn't be there. And we'll talk about that. Like, it's just so funny. You'll see. Null is only weak to some form of holy light. Exactly, just like the White Lanterns and Black Lanterns from Green Lantern. Mandy's editors really kill me. Like, do they not have phones? It's so weird. Editors used to, you have to talk on phone before, but they didn't have email, in the 70s and 80s. They didn't have these forms to communicate and share things with each other. And scanners to scan comic pages were really expensive back then. There was these big machines, and yet they could fit continuity. They can get events to work and stuff like that. Nowadays, you have emails, social media, you have all these ways, phones, every way to contact each other. And they don't use any of them. They don't use any of them. I would guarantee you Saladin Ahmed and Donny Cates had one conversation before they started writing Absolute Carnage, because Saladin Ahmed built up this really cool story moment with Miles Morales. But then when you read Absolute Carnage, it doesn't pay off. So you're like, that's the whole point. When you do an event, you set something up in one of the tie-ins, it pays off in the main book. It's terrible. They're terrible, man. Man, I thought these editors, and I thought King of Black 1 is an interesting start to an event. I am hoping this goes out with a bang. However, I'm probably going to skip out the tie-ins. I'm skipping a lot of the tie-ins. I've not read Absolute Carnage yet. Do not spoil it. You might want to go away now, because we're going to spoil King in Black. So we're going to probably reference Absolute Carnage. So you probably you have to go away, Drake. I'm sorry. The tie-ins don't even matter. They just slap KIB on the cover. That's exactly it. Henry's right. Yeah, man, I'm about to sell them. Yeah, I would sell them too. Get them while they're worth money. Wait till the movie comes out. More Carnage stuff will go up in value when the movie comes out. So wait till then. Question is, Dylan Brock really the Codex? If you're talking about in the alternate universe, yes. Yes, he is. All right, so let's talk about King of Black #1. Now that I caught up on comments, King of Black #1 starts off with everybody's phone going off. Everyone who's an Avenger, they get a phone call saying, emergency, emergency. Dark Renegade, what's up? Hey, everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for the 6 thumbs up, by the way, everybody. The only thing that annoyed me in King of Black is that once again, we have Eddie separated from the Venom suit yet again, and I have a feeling it's going to be like that until the last issue. I agree. I also have that theory, too. That's funny you said that. Some comic writers just don't know what they're doing. I feel like that. Hey, what's up, Jennifer Fritz? How's it going? I think Donnie knows what he's doing overall when it comes to stuff. I feel like his execution is a little poor sometimes, and I think that's because he is. All right. Hopefully that didn't. I had a little hiccup there, so sorry about that. Oh, bump my camera. Cool. Can you guys still see me? All right. You guys still see me? Let me know in the comments. I just see Jenny saying hi over and over and over. But I had a little hiccup on the connection there, so you guys let me know if you can still see me. No? Yes? Nobody? There's nobody in the chat? Oh, crap. Did I lose everybody? I'm going to wait a second. I'm going to wait till someone comments. Anybody? No? All right, I guess I'll just keep going. Let me pull it up on my computer. Let me see if I'm still live. Because maybe I can't see the comments. No, I can't be it. I see the comments. All right. We're gonna get into King of Black here in a second. Let me just wait. Thank you for the 8 thumbs up, by the way. All right, enter, man, enter. I got a new keyboard, and the enter button is very small. I wish I would have thought about that before. Hold on, everyone. If you can see me, I can't see your comments. So let me switch to my computer so I can see your comments, because they're not showing up on my screen here on my phone anymore. I had something got disrupted. I think it was all the highs from Jennifer.
If you shop on Amazon.
All right. Here we go. There we go. Yep, I see it. I see your comments now. Yep. All right. Yes, I can see you. Okay, good. Production, serious is the Venom book. Is it really so hard for Donnie to use Venom? I mean, that's the thing. Writers are like, I gotta make the main character not the main character. Like right now, Thor, like anyone can lift Thor's hammer. We talk about tropes all the time on this show. everyone's a Venom now. Everybody's a Ghost Rider now. Everybody's a Spider-Man. Everybody's a Batman. It's just like everyone's a Phoenix. Like it's like it gets old. And then but the main ones who are normally Venom, who are normally Phoenix, who are normally this, they're not that anymore. So it's like, okay, great. So yes, we can see you. Thank you. We can see you. I'm alive. Hey, what's up, Georgie? I see you clear. Thank you guys. I can't wait for Carnage to see you in theaters. My dad always loves this character, even reading Venom comic. Yes, me too. I can't wait to see what he looks like. Apparently your chat isn't updating. Nope, it's not, but I can see it now. So what up, Christopher Darlington? What up? Awesome hearing your voice on MSPH. Can't wait for you to be a guest again. Oh man, thanks for popping in. Yes, MSPH for life. I love those guys. I had to leave him a voicemail. I was worried about Kevin. I saw that Kevin lost his job, and that bummed me out. So, all right. So back to King in Black. So yes, all the Avengers get a text message saying, "Hey, it's time. Nola's coming. Eddie Brock is preparing us." So so that's pretty much the setup. And then you go to space and you see all these big dragons and everything flying. And then the heroes are like, "We got a plan." So what I love about this book is that every plan these heroes have are stupid plans. These are the heroes that have taken on Galactus numerous times. They've taken on Thanos, Infinity Gauntlets, Death, Phoenixes, Kree Skrull invasions. Like they've taken on everything. Their plan here is so stupid. This is one of those where I'm like, is this one of those scripts Donnie wrote in 8 hours? Because it's like Iron Man's like, yep, I made some bombs and I put them up into space. And as the dragons fly by, the bombs are going to go off. So earlier when Drake said, are they going to nuke them? That's what they try to do. And guess what? It kills maybe about 10% maybe of the dragons, the type of bombs they use with the fire and stuff, which I'm like, would that spread in space? I don't know. I think there's no oxygen, right, in space. So like, wouldn't it just like one thing and then gone? I don't know. I mean, who cares? It's comic books. It doesn't matter. I guess the Phoenix couldn't fly through space if that was true. So I don't know. So comic book logic, I guess it fits. But yeah, so the bombs go off, and of course they're like, well, that didn't work. So they're like, plan B. And I'm like, really? That was plan A, just bombs in space? It's so bad. Yeah, good plan, right? Is King in Black any good? Well, we're going to talk about it. You're going to hear my point of view. I don't hate it. It's not the worst comic ever, but I like Absolute Carnage #1. I thought that was a great setup to a story. This I feel like is weaker than Absolute Carnage #1, but Absolute Carnage did end badly. So if this starts off not strong but ends strong, then maybe I'll like King in Black overall. But this did not open to me as strongly as Absolute Carnage. Absolute Carnage #1 I thought was the best book in all of Absolute Carnage. I thought it was a really good setup. And that's just my opinion. So if you have a different one, that's fine. Speaking of which, I did my review on Champions Outlawed 3 just now. Awesome, man. Awesome. Guys, go check that out if you want to know about Champions Volume 3. I'll have to catch up on your videos at another time, man. Because after I do this, I got to get ready for work. So, all right. So let me make sure the chat is still here. There we go. But he says, is King Black any good? I doubt it. I mean, it's up to you. We need Cullen Bunn back. I mean, I like Cullen Bunn. I did like, we're reading this now. So my video for Kindred Spirits, which is the second last story in here, that video is going to go up probably tomorrow night, Friday night. And then we have one more story left called Mania. So we'll get into that. We've been reading that on the show. And then obviously I like his War of Rome storyline a lot. And on Marvel Future Fight, I'm playing as Rune Venom right now, which is awesome. And I've tier 3'd him, and I'm so happy. So yeah, good plan. Bombs in space. I'm going to put bombs in space. Iron Man 2020. Yep. I subscribe, but I have to go. Hey, thanks, Jennifer. We appreciate you popping by. Hopefully you come back later and we can chat more. But thanks for coming in, saying hello, and being so nice. We appreciate it. Henry said, love the X-Men. We're in King in Black, Venom, and X-Men. I love that too, except I have one big problem with it. I hate the Jonathan Hickman X-Men. And also they made a continuity error with the X-Men. So we'll talk about that here in a second. But yeah, have a good day, Jennifer. Appreciate you coming in. Hey, I have some news. All right, what's your news? Who's your favorite symbiote? My favorite symbiote is Venom, and Eddie Brock is my favorite host. I hate to ask this again, but do you finally finish? I did. Yes, I did. I watched Cell Block 99. We'll talk about it in a minute. Let me finish King in Black first. But I did watch it. Yes, I finished it. I didn't watch the other one, the Drag Through Concrete or whatever, but I did watch Cell Block 99. Mine is Toxin. Nice. Toxin is awesome. I like kind of. I like Maximum Carnage, Lethal Protector, and Amazing issue 300. Nice. All right, so King in Black. So now that Plan A has failed, and of course it did, now symbiotes are raining down on the planet. Some of them are hitting the ground and coming up, trying to get heroes from underneath. Other dragons are flying down because obviously they have the foot soldiers that, you know, were at Empire's End that just kind of come in like regular symbiotes. So you have Captain America trying to save kids and people and you know and everything, and all the heroes teaming up. I liked all that, but then the X-Men show up, and it's funny because the way they're written, they are not the Jonathan Hickman X-Men. Like Professor X goes, "Don't worry, Captain America, I'm here." Like they're old friends, you know. He's like Charles Xavier's here, and so are the X-Men. And the X-Men show up, and they're all fighting. And then you see Cable, who is currently a teenager. But this Cable's not. He's an older guy with a big gun. So continuity. Also, some of their costumes, I mean, obviously it's Stegman's interpretation of them, but I'm a big X-Men fan. I love that they showed up, but I do not like the Jonathan Hickman X-Men. I don't like that book at all. I gave it a shot. I read House of 10, Powers of X, or House of X and Powers of 10. And then I read the first like 3 or 4 issues of each individual series. And then I stopped. I was like, I can't read it. Then I read Wolverine number 1 and 2. And I like Benjamin personally, but and it's still a Wolverine set in the Jonathan Hickman X-Men. And I'm just not a fan. So but still the continuity era of Cable was pretty funny to me. Cable's a teenager. What? Yeah, he's like a younger body now. The older Cable died, and there's like a teenager Cable now, kind of like X-Man style. Continuity era X-Men happens in movies and now in comics. Who knew? Yeah, right. Bro, I already said the news. You didn't see it. Oh, sorry, man. So I'm going to skip it then. Apologize for the repeat question, but I just want to let you know my review of Champions Outlawed. Honestly, at this point, I'm so tired of Marvel events. Everything's a Marvel event now. I mean, King in Black is going to be on every comic for the next like 3 months. So yeah, I did see your video on the Venom 2 set. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it was fun. I was so glad and lucky to get to go to that. It was really cool to be on the set of Venom 2. And it was like 3 weeks before I moved away from Los Angeles. So that was my last big like thing I got to do. Like that, you know, something like that's like very LA kind of like, or Atlanta, like you get to, or New York, you get to walk on a movie set. I'm probably not going to get that opportunity here in Orlando, Florida too much, but it was cool to be there. I'm very, very grateful that got to happen. Which symbiote do you prefer better, Carnage or Anti-Venom? Anti-Venom all the way. I'm not a huge Carnage fan. I like him as a villain. He's fine. But as far as the others, like I like Anti-Venom and Venom a lot more. All right, so the X-Men show up, and then around this time, that's when Null shows that he's been ready, because, you know, Null is a Mary Sue. He's got every power imaginable. He doesn't have to earn jack shit. Everything comes to him naturally. He's got the best plans. He's outthought everybody. He's been asleep for like 1,000,000 years, and yet he's smarter than all these heroes who have put together plans to stop the biggest threats ever. But he can outsmart them easily. So when their plan A's and B's and C's don't work, then Null reveals that he has Celestials that are dead and they're taken over by symbiotes. And now he's piloting a bunch of Celestials to come down and destroy Earth. And what's his plan? I don't know what Null wants. He wants Dylan Brock, which we knew, and they try to act like that's a twist in this storyline, but it's not, because he's like, he grabs Eddie, rips the suit off him, and he goes, wait, you're not Brock. And he's like, yes, I am. I'm Eddie Brock. And he's like, oh yeah, you're the host of this symbiote, sure, but you're not the Brock I want. I came for the other Brock. And I was like, okay, he's after Dylan. But we knew that. But then Eddie has this look on his face like shocked. I'm like, but you knew that. He's been talking to your son for like a year. What do you mean? Like, why is that a shock to you? You hid Dylan at the beginning because you knew he had something to do with this, or possibly. So it's funny to me. You went to another universe where Dylan was the boss of that world as Codex, and kind of served the voice of Null in some way. Donnie, do you not read your own comic books sometimes? So Donnie's flaws, he brought back the true X-Men. He wrote them as like standard X-Men. Like this is how the X-Men would have shown up before the Jonathan Hickman version. I mean, I guess you could argue, okay, the X-Men, it's a world-ending event. Of course the X-Men are going to help, even though they've secluded themselves to Krakoa and have segregated themselves and they're kind of stay away from human affairs. You could still argue, okay, maybe they're still written like the Jonathan Hickman X-Men, but I guess my point was the Cable was pre Jonathan Hickman X-Men. Was I kind of combined those two critiques. So no, I don't hate that he wrote them in a sense that they're like the older X-Men, but it just shows, like, does Donny Cates read other comics? Does this editor read other comics? Like, that used to be a thing at Marvel where editors had to know what other books were doing so they could make everything work. And yet I don't see it on the page. Maybe they're doing it, I just don't see it on the page. Anti-Venom's okay. Yeah. Anti-Venom's your favorite Two Swordsman? Yeah, I like Anti-Venom. Sony's having a CCXP panel, though. I don't expect anything big. Yeah, I'm not expecting anything big from that either. Probably just Monster Hunter stuff. When do you think we'll get a trailer for Venom 2? I don't know. I get asked that a lot. What's up, Shiva? Thanks for laughing. I don't know. I get asked that a lot. I have no idea. I guess we'll get a trailer when they figure out if they're going to release the movie in theaters or not. Because that's what the Sony guy said a couple months ago that we talked about on the show. He released a quote saying, we're not sure if we're going to promote these movies just yet because of COVID. We have to see. And honestly, people are not going to rush back to the movie theaters. It's not like January is going to be a whole new year where we don't have to deal with stuff. Like, we're going to be dealing with this virus for like the next 6 months. So just like we're going to have to deal with King in Black for the next few months. So both of them aren't going anywhere. I'm glad we got the true X-Men. Did we though? Because they still look like the new X-Men, except for Cable. But you can argue that Cable traveled through time or something. I don't know. You know what sucks? That Venom 2 delayed the release date to June from October. I mean, yeah, but it happens, I guess. Technically, Kid Cable was from Extermination way before Hickman X-Men ever existed. Technically, yes, but that's what I'm saying is he's the version they're using now. So seeing Old Man Cable in here makes no sense. Are we going to talk about Brawl now? No, we're still talking about King in Black. So King in Black, so the Celestials show up, and then one of them, their chest opens up, and Null walks out. And then he's, like Mr. Powerful and everything. Someone earlier mentioned in the comments they want Null to have a new form. He does kind of get an upgraded form at some point. But as Null shows up, that's when they realize, okay, or that's when the heroes go, we're going to send in plan C or D. And that plan, Tavia mentioned earlier, is the Sentry. The Sentry shows up, and he flies through the head of a Celestial, killing it. Sorry, I keep banging the camera. Killing it. But like I said, this is like Black Lanterns all over again. Anytime a body dies, Null can attach a symbiote to it and reanimate it. Much like Necron could when a person died. He could slap a ring on it, and they come back as a Black Lantern. So him flying through the head of Celestial with blood everywhere, I'm just like, first of all, would a Celestial bleed blood like that, like red blood? And second of all, does it matter? Because it's still attached to the symbiote. It's still going to be alive. So Sentry shows up. He grabs Null, and he's going to rip him in half. But, of course, Null's like, oh, I remember you because everything Carnage ever did, I can see his memories because, obviously, symbiotes have genetic memories, and now we know why. It all ties back to Null, of course. So Null saw that Sentry ripped him in half, like hit Carnage in half at one point. So Null turns it around on Sentry, flies him up into space, and rips Sentry in half. What's really funny is if you've read recent comics, Sentry does not look like this anymore. So again, Donny Cates or Ryan Stegman, they drew and wrote the version from before the current stuff. So it just, I don't know, continuity, man, like pay attention. So Robert Reynolds, who is Sentry, shows up with his long hair and his yellow suit. He doesn't exactly look like that anymore in the comics, in the newer version. Plus, he died in Siege, and we talked about that. But I guess he came back after that, and he kind of has a new form now. I don't know what it is. I haven't read it, so I don't know for sure fully. But I saw people mentioning that online that, this Sentry he looks like the Sentry from like 10 years ago and not the current Sentry. So again, just another art mistake, I got to say. Can't stay, but just got to say that thumbnail's hilarious. We'll watch later. Hey, thanks, VCXE. We'll see you later, man. Thanks for the thumbnail comment. Yeah, sometimes they make silly faces. It's a placeholder. I'll in like a week, I'll add a different thumbnail to it. Yeah, but it's a pain, but hey, don't rush the art. Yeah, there you go. LOL, the delay doesn't suck. It's coming out on my birthday. There you go. See, there you go. I heard that a vaccine is flying to the US. Yes, apparently. Honestly, I think Hickman is destroying the X-Men. They now stand for everything they used to stand against. That's how I feel. They're like a bunch of bullies. I don't like them. I think I had a CV, though. I didn't notice. I was doing the rules like always, wearing the mask, washing my hands, and so on. Yo, you think you had it? Oh, that sucks. I mean, that's the thing is like the masks and all that stuff, they just reduce your chance of getting it, but an airborne virus is still an airborne virus. Like you're not immune to it, unfortunately. It's just to hope to increase your chance of not getting it. But that's all it really does. I'm glad Sentry is dead. He was a boring character. I know he died in Siege. I guess they brought him back and they couldn't figure out anything to do with him. So they were like, Donny Cates was like, hey, I know what to do with him. I'll just kill him again. It's like, so when people are like, oh, this is a great book, it's a great setup, it's a great all this, I'm like, maybe to you, but to me, it's not. The big thing they do at the end is they don't want anyone escaping Earth, and they don't want any outside forces, I guess, like the God of Light, the White Lantern. They don't want any of that to come to Earth to save the day. So Null wraps the planet around, he wraps Earth in a symbiote. So much like Clintar was like a bunch of symbiotes wrapping around it to form a planet, apparently that's what they're doing here to Earth. So that's the big thing that happens at the end. And then Eddie says, you know what? I can't do this anymore. He's been trying to help the Avengers. He connects into the hive mind that Carnage was connected to. He connects into that, and he's trying to remote pilot some of the symbiotes and fight back against Null and everything. Of course, it doesn't work because it's a dumb plan. So instead, Eddie's like, all right, let's go meet our maker. And him and the symbiote basically say this goodbye, which I'm like, hey, it's nice. There's like a goodbye moment between the two of them. And both of them make the decision together, which we talk about that all the time. So to give Donny Cates some credit, I like that moment there. Donny at least treats the symbiote, even though I don't agree with some of his writing on it, he does treat the symbiote as a living entity, which is something that this run didn't do because they neutered it with drugs, which is now part of the story that we're getting to now. So I'm liking that. But yeah, it's like I like that the symbiote and Eddie both make the decision to go sacrifice themselves to stop Null. And they go up to Null and they're like, hey, take us, leave planet Earth alone. And Null's like, no, I'm going to take Earth too. Why? We don't know. He's looking for Dylan. Why? We don't really know. Maybe he just wants Dylan's powers. Or Dylan's like kind of an experiment because he's all about protecting his experiment and his children. And Dylan in some way is a descendant of Null because it's a descendant of symbiotes and Eddie and all that. So maybe that's why he wants them. So we'll figure that. I'm sure we'll find out the motivation in another issue or two. But it does end with Eddie getting the suit ripped off of him. Pretty standard stuff. And then being dropped from a building, which I'm like, that's the ending of issue 1 is, oh my God, is Eddie Brock going to hit the ground? That's not a good ending. There's a million superheroes. We saw them. Captain America, Storm, all these people. Storm gets a pretty cool moment in this book. She's using her lightning because Thor's not around, apparently, because now everyone can lift Mjolnir, so Thor's not special anymore, or whatever the hell's going on in that book. So Storm, they use Storm to fight back, because lightning, as we saw from Miles Morales, it hurts the symbiotes. But you know what else we saw in comic books before? Was we saw Alchemex and Mike Costa's run create anti-venom symbiotes, and we know anti-venom symbiotes hurt symbiotes. So maybe that's too much like King and Black Lanterns and White Lanterns too, where they, maybe they just have Alchemex create a bunch of White Lantern symbiotes for the White Lantern symbiotes for the heroes to wear. Maybe that was too close to it, but they're still going to do a God of Light versus a God of Darkness anyway, so it's still like Green Lantern anyway. So I don't know, but I'm just like, there's other things in continuity that you could use as a weapon against these symbiotes. So how come Plan A was bombs in space, and Plan B wasn't white anti-venom symbiotes on Earth? Just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, so Eddie gets dropped at the end, and I'm like, they're gonna catch him. Storm's there, Old Man Cable's there, Wolverine's there. Like someone's gonna catch Eddie. He's not gonna hit the pavement. So to me, a better ending to issue 1 would have been Eddie hitting the pavement, and then you going, what the hell? What's gonna happen? Like Eddie just fell off a building and hit the pavement. That would have been a more shocking ending to issue number 1. Of course, Eddie's not going to die, but you could have been like bring him back with the white power of light or whatever the hell it's going to be. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. Anyway, so let me catch up so that's where issue 1 ends. Chapter 1 is called Rain by Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman. Art was pretty good. The colors are great. Donny Cates' writing is okay at this. I mean, this was not as good as Absolute Carnage number 1 was for me. But hopefully it gets better from here. Absolute Carnage got worse to me, so hopefully this gets better. And I'm okay with that if that's the case. So let me catch up on comments. Let me see what you guys think. Ryan Reynolds signed on for multiple films in the MCU, bigger than RDJ, Iron Man. Oh, wow. So a lot of Deadpool, maybe. Interesting. Not going to lie, I got a kick out of the reversal on Sentry. Killing Carnage that way was a stupid idea. Yeah, I mean, it was fun to see Sentry get ripped apart because I don't like that character too much. But still, it's like it was just like whatever. This kind of reminds me of Secret Empire, but done better. I didn't read Secret Empire, so I'll take your word for that. What made you move from Cali to Florida? No jobs in California was part of it, but that was at the beginning of COVID. The main reason I moved was health. Um, uh, my health has been getting worse, obviously, with my head and stuff, so I needed to be closer to family. That's pretty much the main reason. And now we can talk about Cell Block 99, which I liked. Vince Vaughn gives a really good performance in it, but it's really just like him punching people's skulls in and heads breaking apart, and like the violence was so gratuitous and over the top and silly at times, but yet they still try to tell a grounded story. And I don't know, I didn't love it as much as because when you were talking about it, you were like it really pumped me up. But when I watched it, I was like, I didn't hate the movie for sure. I was like, I liked it more than meh. It wasn't meh to me. I was like, hey, this was actually pretty good, but it didn't blow my mind. But I did think Vince Vaughn's performance in it was really good, and I liked his character. But he made a lot of decisions in that movie that you're just kind of like, what, really, dude? But that kind of reminded me of Eddie Brock a little bit, so I kind of accepted it. But thanks for telling me about it. I'm glad I watched it, actually. And my brother, I talked to my brother about it, and he was like, oh, I watched that. I really liked it. So I think he liked it a little bit more than me. But I am glad I watched it. But I didn't watch the other one yet, Dragged Across Concrete. I haven't seen that one yet. But I appreciate the recommendation. And yeah, I know when people recommend stuff to me, I know I take forever to get to watching stuff. I don't typically like watching movies or doing that. When I sit around, I like to read comics or play a video game or something. I don't really watch a lot of movies anymore or TV shows. So, but thanks for recommending that one to me. I'm glad I did finally sit down after like 4 months of you telling me to watch it. I finally watched it. These comics are like Game of Thrones season 8 quality with some rare good moments. I don't know what that means. I'll take your word for that. I haven't seen any of Game of Thrones. Knowing Eddie Brock, he'll be fine. Exactly. Calling it now Spider-Man is going to save Eddie in the first or second page of King of Black 2. Probably. Spider-Man was there fighting alongside the heroes. So actually, there's a part in the book where they go to the bunker where Silk was kept all those years by Ezekiel, and that's where Dylan is being held. So I kind of like that for continuity's sake. I'm like, that's kind of cool, I guess, because the Rex place got destroyed, so they can't go there. So Eddie needed a new place to hide Dylan. And he was like, well, hey, Ezekiel hid Silk from the Moreland and all the vampire people for years, so why don't you use that bunker? So I was like, that's cool. That's why I only buy Silver Age and Golden Age comics now, original, no letdown, plus original. Yeah, that's true. I like reading old comics. I do it on Comixology because it's cheaper, obviously. Plus, I don't have room to just build a comic collection up like that. By the way, my camera, let me readjust it. Get it more center. There we go. So you can see the whole collection and wall. I'm with you. I like reading a lot of older stuff now. Secret Empire is horrible. It's basically Cap's One More Day. Oh, good. Then I'll skip that. At least nuking the city was not a first idea in Maximum Venom. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even in Maximum Venom, the cartoon, I felt like they tried a lot to use their scientific minds. One thing that's really funny that my friend Gene pointed out was, why wasn't Reed Richards involved in any of the plans, from Plan A to Plan Z? Reed Richards has actual history of studying the symbiote numerous times in numerous dimensions, the Maker and all this other stuff. So why wasn't Reed Richards there to like put his big brain on the platter? And this guy has outthought Galactus and the Heralds of Galactus before. Where's Silver Surfer? Like where is their Plan A's through D's suck ass? Like it's so amateur. I'm like, they make the heroes look so nerfed in this book. The X-Men, the Avengers, everyone is so nerfed just so Null can look so powerful and so smart. And that is shitty writing 101, in my opinion. So anyone out there who likes this book, that's fine. You can like it. You can like that Null is this big OP Mary Sue that has everything handed to him and hasn't earned jack shit. That's fine that you feel that way. It's totally okay. But just be aware of these terrible writing tropes for the future. They're bad. These are bad writing techniques. And Donnie is better than this. He can do better than this. I believe he can. So I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm willing to see where the series goes. But to me, this was not a very good intro to this storyline. Sorry, I got to take a cough drop now. I'm not doing too good. Whose idea was to give Eddie a son? I don't know. I guess Donnie's. He read Batman and was like, oh, Batman has a son now. Let's do that. And Superman has a son. Let's give Eddie one. I don't think that's a bad idea. Eddie's totally not parent material. So to make someone who's not parent material is great. Also, Eddie's not like Spider-Man. Spider-Man is that character that is so big that every time he gets married or has kids or whatever, they got to retcon it and shove it to another universe, or they got to bring him back to status quo. Venom's a big character, but he's not that big to where you can't evolve him. We talk about that all the time. Eddie Brock's one of the few characters in comics that actually got off his hamster wheel. Every character in comics is repeat. And although Eddie repeats similar stories, like it's always an invasion story, it's always a carnage story, it's always a symbiote giving birth story, it's like there's always tropes, but Eddie himself keeps progressing forward. That's rare in comics. Normally, you reset characters. Eddie has not ever been reset, technically, except for when he became Venom again. But even then, it wasn't like a full reset. They didn't undo a lot of stuff. So I gotta give that character credit. It's great to see. Are you a Transformers G1 fan? Starscream is my favorite. I don't know if that answers your question or not. Yes, I'm a huge G1 fan. I have a lot of Transformers in my other room. This room is just Venom. I call this planet Clintar now. It needs to be rebuilt, Clintar, because it got destroyed by Null. So I am here to rebuild it as an actual planet, and it's going to be full of memorabilia from Venom stuff. So yes, this is Planet Clintar. But yeah, in my other room, I have Cybertron in the other room. I was honestly disappointed with Max and Venom. I mean, me too. Ultimately, I was a little let down, especially by that final episode. But whatever. It's a kid show, and now we'll move on to something different. I have a feeling I would like a Venom cartoon. I talk about that all the time. Venom is now a household name with that first movie. And as long as the second movie is also successful, then I don't see any reason why we can't have a Venom cartoon and a Venom video game. And yeah, so I hope we get that. I got to go see, man. Go have some lunch, Tavia. Have a good night. And I'm going to wrap this up the next 5 minutes because it's 12:15 and I was supposed to end at 12. But you guys always get me talking, so that's okay. I like that. So I'm going to end this in the next couple minutes here. But thank you all for being here. Thanks for talking this storyline with me and giving me your thoughts on it and listening to me bitch about stuff. I appreciate that. I try to be positive, but I'm a very tough critic sometimes, and I get it. And that's because I'm tough on myself. I'm writing a book right now myself. I've written comics for a couple years. I've edited comics before for a few years. So I'm a very tough critic and a tough editor to work with too sometimes. But I just want the best of every product. I want people to put in the work. And I see a lot in comics, people don't put in the work. And when I see Donnie post on Twitter, man, I wrote another comic, took me 10 hours, and I finished the whole thing. I'm like, 10 hours, that's a good amount of time to put into a script, but a first draft. I feel like that's lazy to me. You could do better. But it probably wasn't 10 hours at once. Although I think a couple times he said it was like 8 hours at once or something. That's also not good. Don't do that. I mean, sometimes you get on a roll when you're writing, but again, you're getting a first draft. His editor needs to challenge him a little bit more, needs to help flesh out ideas more. A lot of times I see Donnie writing something in a comic and a lot of people not understanding what he meant to do. And then he goes on Twitter and says, oh, well, this was supposed to read like this and this and that. And they're just like, wow, that doesn't come across at all on the page. That's, again, I think that is because he rushes sometimes, And I get it, you get deadlines, and he writes like 20 books a month or whatever, but focus. Prioritize. What's up, Jenny? Welcome back, Jennifer. Hey, Andrew Baxter. What's up, dude? My friend Andrew, who I showed off, I did a room tour yesterday, and I framed the movie ticket when you took me to Into the Spider-Verse movie premiere where we got to meet the cast and the crew and everybody. I framed that ticket, and it's hanging on my wall in my new room here on Planet Clintar. And then also we're playing Miles Morales, and we're getting near the end. So I can't wait to do that on my gaming stream. Probably tomorrow night we will finish the game. I think we're like very close to the end of the game. Well, the first episode of Max Venom was good. The rest, yeah, that's how I felt. I thought it started off strong and it kind of meandered throughout it. Before I go, I'm bored with Venom, Eddie Brock having a kid, Dylan, and it blows my mind we can't have Peter Parker and Mary Jane get married and have a daughter, Mayday. I mean, I agree, but it's not going to change, unfortunately. Don't get me wrong, I intend to have a kid someday, so I don't know why I'm complaining. That's okay. It's right. You're allowed to have opinions. It's okay. And opinions change. As you get older, Opinions change. People act like that's like a death knell on Twitter. They're like, "Oh, you said this 10 years ago, but so you must still be an a-hole." And it's like, no, man. People become less a-holey. I've become less a-holey. I used to be a big asshole, um, and I've t- tempered off, man. You just do with age, especially the sicker I get. I'm like, I don't have the energy to be angry anymore. It takes too much out of you. I grew up with Transformers Prime, and it's pretty annoying to see people hating it because it's not G1. Oh, I love Transformers Prime. There's only one version of Transformers I haven't liked, actually, as far as cartoons go, and it's the current Netflix one. The current Netflix one is just a ripoff of G1. It's basically just a bunch of writers who are just taking plots from the original G1 cartoon and just rewriting them. And that's lazy. Again, that's not putting in the work. I'm like, it's lazy. So I don't like the new Netflix. That's the only cartoon of Transformers that I haven't found some value in so far. Isn't that weird? But that one gets a lot of praise. I love Prime, though. Prime's awesome. Thanks for doing this. I would donate, but my mom won't let me. Hey, that's okay. This is my mom's account. That's okay. Well, you don't have to. I don't look for donations. If people want to do that, that's nice. Andrew Baxter donated Miles Morales to us so we could play it on our gaming channel. So go check those out if you haven't been to my gaming channel. It's called Spitting Venom, youtube.com/Spitting Venom. And yeah, I mean, you don't have to donate. Just coming here. When people watch my videos, I get a few cents here and there from the amount of time you spend watching my videos. So if you watch a video all the way through and watch the ad in front of it, like I get like, a penny or two from that. And those add up, and after like 2 or 3 months, I get like $100 sent to me, and I can use that to buy new lights, foam pads for the wall, upgrade the channel, get a new microphone, get a new webcam. So yeah, that's you can just watch for free, and it helps me out. So, and pretty soon we're going to be getting shirts made. People have been asking me for a long time. I tried it once, had some issues with it. So I hired an artist, and she's working on some of the designs now. Hopefully we'll get them done by Christmas, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I'm coming up with some shirt designs. Hey, yeah, thank you, Andrew. You're really cool. You're breathtaking. When I watched Netflix show, I was like, yeah, I'll watch Transformer Prime and even Transformer Cyber. Yeah, exactly. But so I don't devolve into a Transformer conversation. King in Black, those are my thoughts. We kind of went through it. I didn't show the artwork. It's a new book, but we did talk about spoilers. So hopefully, I hope you guys enjoyed this. We might do this from now on with King in Black. We may just do live episodes where we talk about them because I like the interaction with you guys. I like hearing your thoughts. I like meeting new people. It's really nice to have this kind of interaction with you. And then also to get an episode out without having spent a lot of time editing and get the screen grabs and throw the images up. I'm not trying to be lazy. I like putting in the work, but I just recorded 6 YouTube episodes before doing this live stream. So I definitely put in the work today, but just in other videos. This is the one where I was like, you know what? I want to talk about this with people. And make it an official Venom vlog episode. So we will do this next season as King in Black issues 2 and onward go on. Any King in Black books that come out, we will do live episode discussions of. So be on the lookout for those. We'll do them next season. This season will end with episode 600. We've done 600 Venom vlogs now, almost. We have 10 episodes left to go. I'll have episode 591 go up tomorrow, where we talk about Flash Thompson again. And then next week we'll come back with episodes 592 and 593 and probably 594, which will put us really close to the end of the season. And we will finish the season before Christmas. Then I'll probably take a week or 2 off to rest and work on my book, and then and also focus on work because I'm going to be working a lot during Christmas and New Year's at my 2 jobs. And then in January sometime we'll come back, and hopefully by then we'll get some more movie news. So I'm glad you enjoyed. Thank you, Swordsman. Hopefully you can make the next one. I hope so too. I like the picture behind you with Venom and Eddie. Yeah, I have that one there. Yep. And then I have one from Gray Matter Artwork over there, and then the Funko one my brother bought me, which is there. And then I have the big Venom head up there where he's coming through the wall, right up there. If you want to see the room tour video, that is up now. I think it went up yesterday, so you guys can check that one out too. It's been an hour now. I got to go. I got to rest before work. Thank you guys so much for being here. I really do appreciate it. As always, as my camera is crooked, that's all right. It's a pet peeve of mine, but whatever. And those episodes I recorded earlier, one of them is Venom Vlog. It'll go up probably tomorrow night. And then after it goes up, we'll live stream on my gaming channel, Miles Morales. And then next week on my gaming channel, I recorded 5 Resident Evil episodes today, where we took a look at new casting for the Resident Evil reboot movie, and also set photos from the movie set. I had a bunch of set photos from that movie. So I made 5 videos, and those are all going to go up on my gaming channel next week. All right. Thank you. Yeah, you too. Good. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much. Bye. I hope you feel better. Thank you. Me too. I got to go to work today. I work every day now. I only have Tuesdays off, but I'm not feeling too well today. I made it through last night, so I think I can make it through today and tomorrow, and then I'll rest. Get a ton of rest on Friday night. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you in the future. Peace.